Is that working? Yeah. Yes, it is. Hello. Hello, everybody. David Goff is my name. I'm the best man today. No, it's not very loud. Can you all hear me? If I keep going, yeah? We just keep going. Well, they finally did it. Steve and Ciara got married. Steve and his wife, Ciara, Mr. and Mrs. Fleming. And doesn't the new Mrs. Fleming look fantastic today? Let's hear it for Ciara, everybody. Let's hear it for the bridesmaids as well. They all look stunning today. Made a show with the lads. And Steve, you look, well, you look like a retired geography teacher. Thank God we have Luke up here, the only one of the lads looking well. You know, when you're asked to be best man at a friend's wedding, it's such an honour. And you're excited, but you remember you have to write a speech and you have to try and be funny. You start getting nervous. I've been lucky enough to have been a best man before, and writing his speech was so easy. You see, this guy was so funny. He was great crack. You know, the speech practically wrote itself. And Steve as well. I mean, you all know Steve. He is the most exciting person in the world. You know, he's a little bit dull, if we're all being honest. I started asking around our friends for some funny stories about Steve, and everybody said the same thing. Who? I know that Ciara knew I'd struggle to write a speech full of excitement about Steve. Not long after Steve asked me to be the best man, she approached me and made me promise not to take the piss out of her. You see, Ciara is really interesting and funny and great crack. And Steve is, well, they say opposites attract. If I was writing a speech about Ciara, it would have been much easier. I promised I wouldn't include her in my speech, and you can see that I only have a couple of pages here for Steve. But if I am dying up here, I do have a much better speech here for Ciara ready to go for later on. Now, where was I? Oh yeah, Steve and how dull he is. So, I've known Steve since we were in primary school together. It's been a long time. I don't remember anything about him. He was just there, blending in, not doing anything exciting or noteworthy at all. We grew up in a housing estate full of kids around our age. All these kids had their own groups of friends. Our group, it wasn't the best looking group. We weren't the funniest. We weren't the friendliest. We weren't the smartest. We weren't the best at football. We didn't get any girls. We all had massive heads. In fact, Ciara actually asked me and Steve one time if a requirement to be in our group of friends was that you had to have a massive head. So even though we were the weird, uncool group in the estate, Steve was the weirdest and least cool member of the group. Even in our gang of misfits, Steve was an outlier. We thought Steve was the weird one. When we were kids, we played football all day, every day, and none of us ever got any good at it. Steve was awful at it. Once a year or so, we'd all get the new jersey of the team we supported. New Liverpool jersey, new Man United jersey. Oh, you got the away jersey, that's deadly. Steve would show up with the new long-sleeve goalkeeper jersey. Nobody wanted the goalkeeper jersey back then. Steve would be standing out like a sore thumb. Then you'd go to have a game of football and go, right, Steve, do you want to go and goal? No, I'm not going to goal. I hate being the goalkeeper. You know, when I was writing this speech, I started to think, why did we hang around with Steve? You know? I think I knew a couple of reasons why we kept him around with us when we were kids. He was the first kid we knew that had a computer and it had games on it. We'd gather around the PC in the Fleming house and wait 45 minutes for a game to load when right at that moment Yvonne would come in and kick us all out. Oh yeah, I should have said earlier, nobody disliked Steve, even though he was weird, you know, you couldn't dislike him. He was so boring and quiet that nobody could have a problem with him. But he did have one sworn enemy as a kid, an arch nemesis, and her name was Yvonne. So we had a PC with games, and the odd occasion Yvonne showed us some mercy and let us play with that. You're thinking computer games, young fellas, football games, fighting games, and Steve had all of them. But Steve's favourite game was a military strategy game, where we'd sit down and stare at the computer for 20 minutes pondering whether or not we should invade France. After about 20 minutes, you'd be dying for Yvonne to come in and kick us all out. And the second reason that we all love Steve is he had a lovely little dog called Daisy. Really, when we called into Steve's house asking for him to come out, we were really asking, can we please please play with Daisy and give her a pet? So those were the two things. Looking back, I think those were the two things, the reason we kept him around. He was such an odd kid. Do you know, when you used to go to the shops as kids together, you'd stretch your money out as far as you could go. You'd get a 10p packet of crisps, a 10p chocolate bar, a penny bag. Steve didn't do that. No. Steve, we'd come back from the shops, pockets loaded with cheap crisps and jellies, and Steve would buy a whole cheesecake for himself. He'd get a plastic fork and a napkin, and he'd walk home from the shops eating a cheesecake. This is what we were dealing with. We were already the losers in the estate, man, and you were walking around with a cheesecake. So, time passes, we grow up, we move on into secondary school. Steve's the only kid that in the whole estate that goes to Terranure College. Yeah, look, that was a slag back in the day, but we've seen how the rest of us turned out. It was probably a smart move by your mum and dad, wasn't it? So we went to Terranure College, and he started playing badminton. I mean, come on now, man, badminton. So you're at that age now when lads are getting into scraps, you're trying to look cool in front of girls. We're already the losers in the estate, and Steve is already the weirdest member of our group, and now he's walking around with a badminton racket and a shuttlecock. What were you doing to us, man? I've known Ciara for a while as well. We both started working together in Standard Life at more or less the same time. I was the lovable loser who didn't really do much work, but at the same time didn't cause much trouble either. I think if you had told Ciara back then she'd marry one of my friends, she'd have laughed in your face and called you crazy. I was what Ciara might have described as harmless, and anyone that knows you knows that's brutal. I'm sure when Ciara told a few of the girls in work that she was going out with Steve, they must have replied, "Is he not way too old for you?" And were met with disbelief when Ciara said that he was in fact younger. The passage of time has not been kind to poor old Steve. The beautiful blonde locks of hair had gone. It hasn't been kind to me either, pal. It's all right. Ciara taking on a big job with Steve. You see, he's a man totally incapable of looking after himself. He was the type of man that needed to be looked after, straight out of Mammy's house and into Ciara's apartment so he could be taken care of. I remember quizzing Ciara on how things were going once they moved in. She was talking about doing the weekly shop and how not much had changed from her buying habits now that Steve had moved in. She told me that she only needed to add 3 things to the shopping list. 3 things, right? It's like a teenager. Wait till you hear this. Coca noodles, tins of Campbell's soup, and packets of Mighty Munch, which he likes to eat after his dinner. Steve finishes off a lovely spaghetti bolognese and thinks, do you know what would wash this down? A lovely pack of Mighty Munch. She also mentioned that Steve had no grasp on how much anything cost. She could tell him that the food shop was €300 that week, and he'd hand over his share without question. Steve, the actuary, "Oh, I'm great with numbers and maths." He hadn't a breeze how much a food shop cost. Steve also has an awful sense of direction. A funny game you can play with Steve is, a funny game that you can play with him if walking together is to tell him where you're going and walk him around town in circles. He'll blindly follow you without questions for hours. I remember we were standing outside the office in St. Stephen's Green, and he asked if the pub was far from here. I told him it was at the top of Harcourt Street, and he had his glazed look over his eyes, staring back at me. Obviously no clue where Harcourt Street. He'd been working there 1 minute walk from Harcourt Street for a number of years at this stage and had no way of finding it. So Ciara had found herself a man that had no clue how much goods and services cost, or how to acquire these goods and services, and if he was left alone in Dublin city centre, he'd get lost and never find his way home. To illustrate just how naive Steve was about the world, I have a little story about one of his birthdays. We were in our early 20s, and Steve wanted to go down the country for the weekend to celebrate his birthday. Great, you're thinking. The lads head off somewhere nice and have a great time. Where would we go? Galway? Kilkenny? Carrick and Shannon? No, Steve has the perfect spot for us, he says. It's this little estate of holiday homes in Kerry, a little hidden gem he discovered when playing in a tag rugby tournament. He says it's hopping down there. We'll have great crack. We arrive down to one of the most remote parts of Kerry, one of the most remote parts on the island of Ireland to these holiday homes, and there isn't a sinner around. Not a person for miles. We are the only young people renting one of these houses. There's one other house with a mum, dad, and their young kids, and eight lads in their early 20s with a car full of cans. The person who checked us into the house, he asked us, "Why are you here?" Totally bemused at the sight of us. We hadn't even done a food shop. There was a tiny newsagent that sold sausages, rashers, and bread. That was it. That's all we had to eat for the weekend. There was a pub there as well. We went to the pub on the first night in the faint hope that perhaps everyone else staying here had been off out for the day. When I say this was the most depressing pub you've ever seen. We all dressed up, jeans, shirts, a ton of gel in the hair, doused in cool water aftershave, and arrived up at the pub, and there was nobody else in it. A barman and the 8 of us. The barman asked the same question that any of the locals had asked us when they'd seen us. "Why are you here?" And Steve pipes up, "I was down here before for a tag rugby tournament, and it was full of people." To which the barman replies, "Oh yeah, that'd be about the only time of the year when there'd be any young people down here." We were all young and ready to party, hoping to meet a few girls, or at least people our age, to have a bit of crack with, and Steve dragged us to one of the most isolated places in the country, somewhere so remote that we learned that the IRA used to use it to smuggle weapons into the country. We had to start watching our back as well, yeah. So Ciara really did have a lot of work to do with Steve to get him up to speed on how to be an adult in this life. Looking at where he is now, though, I can say she's done a great job. Here comes the nice bit. Okay. We all know everything that they've been through over the last number of years. I can't imagine how difficult it was for them. The fear, the worry, the exhaustion, to continue to do all the things you need to do every day when raising a young family, along with all the added commitments that comes with caring for a sick child. I remember Steve telling me about spending nights trying to get a little bit of rest, sleeping in a chair in a hospital, and getting up the next day when Ciara arrives at the hospital to take over. And they did all of this while Steve continued to pass his actuarial exams. And Ciara was pregnant. I think that is a monumental achievement. I'm sure Ciara must have had to pick up a lot of slack at home to ensure you had the chance to keep working hard at those exams. Although, judging by the stories I've told here today and how useless you are at real life, maybe there wasn't too much slack to pick up. Really though, the adversity you both have come through and the hard work that you've both put in over the last number of years means that I can say with great certainty that you are an amazing couple and ready to face any challenge that's put to you. You are meant to be, and my wish is that you have a long and prosperous life together, full of laughter and joy. I do have a little present for Steve. I've been carrying it on. I'm so confident you like it, I'm ready to show it in front of everybody. Now, I know we're about to have a fantastic meal together, and I know that no meal would be complete for you without a beautiful pack of Mighty Munch to wash it down afterwards. And I'd like everyone, if they can, to be upstanding for a toast to Ciara and Steve. May you have many, many happy years together filled with love and happiness. I'm certain you will. To Ciara and Steve. Okay, I'm going to pass the mic over to Ciara's dad now, who's going to do his speech.
Hello, hello. Hello, everybody. I'm Ciara's dad, Paddy the dad. I'm not trying to match Dave, okay? Not far from it. No, I would like to thank everyone joining us for this wonderful day in Portugal to celebrate the wedding of Ciara and Stephen. Ciara's always been a strong-minded girl with ambition regards career. Always friendly and easy to get on with. We've had many social nights out together, including a couple of rock concerts, and always great crack. No, she's very loving and cute as a little girl, and also very funny, with sense of humour. But I'm so proud of the woman she has become today. So professional in the supervision of her career. Likewise, organising family life in a beautiful and loving way. No matter what obstacles are thrown at her, the smiles are kept in the family with lots of love and care. Which brings me to Stephen. Oh, no, no. No, I remember the night we had in town to meet Stephen for the first time. I was so impressed. They seemed to complement each other, got on so well, and were totally on the same wavelength, and had great crack. So I was delighted for Ciara. A father likes to see his daughter laugh a lot, and lots of love, you know. So happy days to the new couple. We're so happy for Stephen and his mum and dad, Teresa and Michael, and family linking up and joining with our family. Now, before we raise the glass, I just want to raise a toast to the beautiful bride, Ciara, and her handsome now husband, Stephen. Also, their beautiful children, Luke, Hannah, Mila, and Lara. May they have a long and wonderful marriage together. Now, before I raise a glass and a toast to the bride and groom, I'd just like to comment on their bridesmaids. Looking fabulous today. Groomsmen, well tugged out. And Marie, Teresa, and Michael. Looking fabulous today. So, could you please raise a glass and a little toast to the bride and groom, please? Congratulations, Stephen and Ciara. Cheers. I'm sorry I couldn't have matched Dave.
No, we're staying right here. Yeah. Hello? Yeah. Great speeches from Paddy and what, Dave? No, sorry. My wife has given me instructions here, and I haven't even started yet. Yeah, put me under a bit of pressure. So first of all, I would like to welcome and thank you all for coming here today to help us celebrate Ciara and Stephen's big day. We really appreciate it. Thank you. Soon after Stephen started working in Standard Life, it became apparent that he was seeing somebody. Well, it did to Teresa, not me. I'm a bit slow on the uptake. But given the cloud of Lynx aftershave that used to envelop Stephen every time he left the house, I should have copped on. I should. Teresa wanted to know who the girl was that was dating her younger son. Yeah. Stephen became very defensive. I don't have a girlfriend. I'm not dating anybody. He was so cautious, in fact, that when Ciara came down to pick him up, she had to park down the end of the road and wait for Stephen to come down to her. I mean, Stephen, please, you know. Eventually the penny dropped. And Stephen realized he had a girlfriend. And he decided it was time for us to meet Ciara. And we had arranged a meal to celebrate our 40th wedding anniversary. And Stephen brought Ciara along, which must have been very intimidating, because not only was she meeting us, but she was also meeting Stephen's brother and sisters and their partners. But it was absolutely no bother to Ciara, and I think it's fair to say that by the end of the evening, Ciara was one of the family and has been ever since. I have been told that it's traditional for the parents of the married couple to offer them some advice on marriage and parenting. But having watched the way Ciara and Stephen handled Ciara's illness, sorry, I'm getting a bit confused here. Mila's illness, the trips to Crumlin Hospital, the chemo, sometimes overnight, sometimes for a week, days, sometimes for a week. They have proved themselves to be really great parents, and there is no advice I could offer them. And when I see them here today with their family, with Luke, Hannah, Mila and Lara, we know they should be very proud of themselves. And Teresa and myself certainly are very proud of them. They are fantastic. I'm going to go off track a little bit here because this is probably the last one of these speeches I'm going to make. So I would just like to say how I would just like to say how proud Teresa and myself are of all our family, of Danny and Jenny, of Michael and Audrey, of Suzanne and Vinny, of Yvonne and Neil. You know, that's what you get when you get a bit older, you know, you kind of have to lose them. I did, I did, yeah, I did. And of course, Ciara and Stephen. And the girls look very handsome. Hannah. Huh? No, I'm not talking about the bridesmaids. I'm talking about Hannah, Mila, and of course Luke. He's looking very handsome. Yeah. And Dave. Where's Dave? So like that's me finished. I just would like to wish you every success and happiness in your life together. I won't say may all your problems be little ones because you kind of covered that already. So ladies and gentlemen, would you please raise your glasses in a toast to Stephen and Ciara.
Risking it from the start. There's a chance you could miss out one.
Testing. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Right. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Massive thank you to everyone for travelling all the way to Albufeira to celebrate our big day. We really appreciate it. Although, let's be honest, it's not the worst place to ask people to travel to. And if we're really honest, come on now, 90% of you are just here to get 2 days away from the kids. Come on, we know that, like, let's be honest, come on. Or 3 days. 3 days that it is. Yeah, 4 days. Yeah, some of you have gone a bit too wild, let's calm down. Yeah, massive thank you to all the staff at the hotel who've been very good to us, as well as our brilliant videographer, photographer, florist, hair and makeup, and of course, our brilliant wedding planner, Carla. Been very good to us. Thank you, Carla. And a special mention to Alex, our babysitter for the day, who is, and she's doing a brilliant job. She's not here. That is fantastic. She's off with the kids. She is the second most important person at this wedding, let's be honest. So to Leona and the bridesmaids, who are looking fantastic. Thank you. Oh, I'm gone here. Thank you. Hello? Gone again, am I? Oh, I'm back. Yeah. Thank you and everyone else involved in organising and attending Ciara's hens. I've seen the videos, it looked like such good crack, and I know Ciara had a fantastic time. And to my best man, Goff. You son of a bitch. I know. A huge thank you to you for sorting out my stags. Thanks to my brother Michael, the brother-in-laws, and all the lads who came along to the stags. Had a brilliant time. Really appreciate it. Minus Neil the job. Although I will say, I think 2 days stags is a lot to ask at our age now. Day 2 was a struggle. To give you an idea, first day we were drinking from 1 p.m. onwards in Houston Station. The very first drink handed to me was actually a fat frog by Ed back there. Come on, Ed, thanks very much. Appreciate that. Really appreciate it. On the train, the whole way down to Galway, drinking non-stop. On the train, we got our drink confiscated by security and all. It felt like we were 15 again. We were hiding them underneath the table and all this kind of stuff. We got to Galway, straight to the pub, shot to tequila, Sambuca, Jager bombs, more drinking. Got to bed at about 4 a.m. or so, barely slept. But that's only because Goff snores like he's being attacked or something. Like someone is assaulting him in the room beside me. Like, Sue, honestly, I don't know how you do it, how you sleep through that. It was terrifying, genuinely a bit scary. Anyway, that morning I woke up, my head banging, and I could hear Goff was up already. And it sounded like he was pouring a drink. I mean, we are in Stag and Hen Central, party central of Ireland. I thought, geez, maybe he's pouring me, a shot of tequila. It's his job to get me drunk on our stags. I mean, this is what we do. And we're only 35, we're still young. We can hang with the cool kids. I turn over, I find Goff is filling up a hot water bottle for a sore back. That is a depressing sign, if ever I've seen one. So, to my mother and father, I'd like to thank you for raising me into the man I am today. I know I was hard work. I'm fully aware. And I can only apologise. Although I don't know, Suzanne gave me a close run for the toughest child. Let's be honest here. But you're fantastic parents, and if I could describe your parenting in a few words, it would be extremely hard working, devotion to your kids, and maybe a bit too heavy-handed with the wooden spoon. I'm still in therapy to this day, but don't worry about it. Look, I'm sure the therapist is, I'll get through it. What? Oh, you joking me? I got a lot of the wooden spoon. To Ciara's mum and dad, Marine. But actually, hold on a second before I go on. I have a little something for my mum. This is mum. Here we go. We figured that the flowers wouldn't hold too well in the suitcase, stuffed into the suitcase on the way home. So, yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, thanks, man. And to Ciara's mum and dad, Marie and Paddy, thank you for raising my beautiful Ciara into the fantastic woman that she is today. But more importantly, thank you so much for all the babysitting you do. Honestly, you've been a huge help to us, and we both really appreciate it. You've no idea how much help you've been to us over the last few years, so we really appreciate it. And I have a little something for Marie. Thank you, Marie. Where am I going? Two of my siblings, Yvonne, Suzanne, Michael, and Jenny. Couldn't ask for a better group of sisters and brother. You've all at some point or another looked out for me, the youngest brother, and I really appreciate it. To my in-laws, Neil, Audrey, Vinny, Danny, and now Ian and Donal. I'm delighted to have you as in-laws. You've been great to me and Ciara as well, and it's brilliant to have you as family. And finally, this goes out to everyone here, in particular, a particular mention to my best man, Goff, my aunties and uncles on my dad's side, my mum's side, all our mates, my sisters, my brother, all the in-laws. A massive thank you to you for when Armila was sick, and there was an outpouring of messages and gifts for Armila, which made her so happy. Thank you so much. So Ciara, or should I say Ciara Fleming, you on there, Ciara, you on. Looking absolutely beautiful. We've really come a long way. It's been a pretty wild 10 years, to be fair. When I was thinking what to say for my speech, I started asking myself where it all began, or how I got you really in the first place. Because look at you. You are gorgeous. You're intelligent. You're funny. You have a wicked sense of humour. You're caring. You're kind. Everyone likes you. You have friends everywhere. Anywhere, like when we could be in the middle of nowhere down the country, the chances are Ciara will bump into someone that she's mates with.
The chances are you drag her there as well.
Nailed it, I'll give you that one. So when me and Ciara, even when me and Ciara are walking down through Rackhill Village to drop the kids off to school, every second car that goes by, there's someone hanging out the window. Hey, you Ciara, how you getting on? I'm like, who are these people? I don't get that treatment when I'm walking down Rackhill Village. No one's waving at me. If anything, I'm more likely to get someone driving by giving me the middle finger than I am to get someone saying hello to me. So I started thinking about standard life. because that's when we very first met. And Standard Life, I know there's a big contingent here tonight of the lads over there. Very close to my heart. I was working on the claims team, and this sounds made up or like something from a movie, but I do genuinely remember seeing Ciara for the first time. I have that imprinted in my head. I remember it well. And I remember thinking, oh, who is that? I remember thinking, hello. Then I found out that she was a manager. And I quickly made sure I was on my best behaviour and working hard when you were around. Not much has changed nowadays. If I'm on the couch and I hear Ciara coming down the stairs, I better get up fairly sharpish, start loading that dishwasher, start hoovering that kitchen, rolling those bins out, whatever it is. I better hop to it. Then I got that first kiss in Dicey's. And this became the place that myself and Ciara would go to regularly. Usually I go there with you on a Wednesday night, because on Wednesdays drinks are only €2. So I could bring you there and it would only cost me €20 for us both to get hammered. I really knew how to spoil you, clearly. Seriously, what are you doing with me? Honestly, like, at least back then I had a full, luxurious head of hair. Now I've no hair and it's got pretty accurately pointed and pretty dull. Like, I mean, what's going on here, Ciara? I'm starting to question your decision-making abilities. So actually, I think that's how I got you to be mine. I just kept you drunk long enough to come around to the idea of me. Soon after that, you met Luke for the first time. Luke would have only been about 4 years of age, maybe only just turned 4. And the three of us would be out and Luke would walk up to me and Ciara and say, Daddy, when are you bringing him home? Because Luke wanted his dad all to himself so we could play the PlayStation together. Is that right, Luke? But Luke liked Ciara straight away, and I could see right away how caring Ciara was. She immediately started being a mammy to Luke and minding him. And Ciara is a big part of why Luke is such a fantastic lad that he is now at 14. With Ciara's help, Luke has turned into such a clever lad who is absolutely brilliant with his sisters and has such a mature mindset for his age. And one other great thing about today is not only have I gained a beautiful wife, but Luke has gained an amazing stepmother. So Luke, you're doing brilliant. Keep it going, son. We love you. Then I met Ciara's family, Marie, Paddy, Ian and Donald, and of course Leona, who's practically a sister to Ciara. All of whom you honestly couldn't ask for a nicer bunch of in-laws, and we have such good crack when we're all together. I'm delighted now to be part of your family. Then our stunning brown-eyed girl, Hannah, came along. And we've seen her turn into such a clever girl who's doing brilliant at school. Now, especially with her reading, she reads by herself every night in bed. She's also our own little athlete. We can't get over how fast she is. We could have a future Sonia O'Sullivan on our hands. So Hannah, you're doing brilliant, and your mammy and daddy love you to bits. Is she hiding under the table, is she? And not long after Hannah came our beautiful blue-eyed girl, Mila. And my God, what a ray of sunshine Mila has been our whole life. Even when Mila was very sick and we were all very sad and upset, the one person who wasn't sad, the one person who had a smile from ear to ear and was giggling through it all, was Mila. Incredibly strong girl. Mila is our warrior. And your mum and dad are so proud of the girl you've become. You're doing amazing in school. You started learning to read. And you're doing just brilliant, Mila. We love you to bits. Then along came our gorgeous brown-eyed Lara. My God, I've never seen such a tiny, feisty little person. Lara has very much completed our family, and we've loved seeing her play with her sisters and brother and really complete things for us as a family. Lara is learning more and more words every day, and we're getting great banter from her. Lara, you're amazing, and Mammy and Daddy love you to bits. So, Ciara, here we are. I have to say, standing here, going through all of this, you make me feel like a very, very lucky man. We've been through the lowest lows to the highest highs, from the lows in Crumlin Hospital to the highest of highs at the top of the rock in New York City when I proposed to you and you said yes. And I feel like we've just gotten to love each other more and more with each passing year. And I couldn't imagine living the rest of my life with anyone else. I'm so happy to now be able to call you my wife, Ciara Fleming. Thanks everyone, really appreciate it.